Thank you so much, man. You guys sound like a fucking arena in here. Holy shit.
Hey everybody, it's Mike here from The Art of Guitar. I'm here with another brutally honest concert review video. These are so much fun to do for me. It gives me a chance to go see some of these shows that I've never been able to see before, see the bands that I've been wanting to see, but maybe back in the day I couldn't afford it, or I just wasn't able to get tickets. Two bands that I had always wanted to see live were Living Colour and Extreme. So when I heard that they were both coming in concert, I just totally freaked out. And I remember thinking, okay, I gotta remember to get tickets to this thing. I've been a fan of Extreme ever since I was about 12 years old, and my sister had the cassette tape to their self-titled album. I think she just had a crush on Nuno Bettencourt. You can't blame her. But I love the music. I remember putting the cassette tape in and listening to the solo to Play With Me, and it immediately caught my ear. And then when I did start playing guitar, I remember trying to learn some of his licks and his riffs. And so I went out and got some tab books, this infamous porno graffiti tab book that's known for being very inaccurate and making things way more difficult than it has to be. And then we have Living Colour. Around the same time, I would say when I was about 11 or 12, that song and video were on MTV every single day for about a year, and I never got tired of it. I still to this day love that song, the main riff, and especially the guitar solo. When I saw Vernon Reid's fingers just flying like crazy, it really inspired me. Luckily, my friend Grant messaged me and he's like, hey, you going to the show tomorrow? And I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot that it's tomorrow. I thought it was in like a few months or something. And so, I was like, thanks for reminding me. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it. I'm going to try. So I bought a ticket. I went to one site, and at first it was $135 for the ticket. So I went to Extreme's official website, and it pointed me to another site that had it for $39.50. And I thought, man, it really pays to click around when you're trying to buy tickets these days. So I bought a ticket, but I also knew that I had a video to finish the next day, which was my Marty Friedman's Techniques video, and I really was dying to finish that. Luckily, the next day I got done at about 7:40. The show was at 8 o'clock, so I was late. I tore ass down to the show, parked, got out, and I was walking down Hennepin. And all of a sudden I hear this commotion. I hear horns honking, I hear people yelling, and all of a sudden the cars kind of parted, and I thought maybe an ambulance was going to come flying through. It was just some beat up white car that was cruising right down Hennepin, and it took a sharp left like Dukes of Hazzard and squealed and then took off that way. And I thought, you know what, if I would have left 10 seconds earlier, I might have been on the road. It was like perfect timing for that, and who knows what would have happened. But then 20 seconds after that, a police car just kind of came down after it. Didn't seem like it was really trying to chase it, and we're all pointing, it went that direction, and the cop didn't even pay attention to us. It just kept going straight, so it didn't even follow the car. So whatever. Minneapolis. So my heart was racing. I finally got to the Skyway Theater, and I remember I got to the front door, and the guy taking the tickets recognized me from the channel. So it was pretty cool. He was like, hey man, you taught me a lot of guitar stuff. I'm like, sweet. I felt like I was going into like a family reunion or something, because I knew there was going to be a lot of guitar players inside, hopefully some subscribers, some friends, some ex-students I knew were going. So I thought this is a really cool vibe already. And as soon as I walk in, it feels like an old vintage movie theater at Skyway Theater. There's like a bar to the left, and then in front there's the merch section. And I thought I have to buy a t-shirt. A concert like this, I need something to bring home. So I checked out Extreme's setup, and I really didn't love the Gorilla Face t-shirt very much. So then I went to the Living Colour side, and I saw this shirt, and I knew I had to have it. It's for the album Stain, which is a great album, by the way. So the guy was just kind of standing there staring into space. I'm like, hey, do you have that t-shirt in medium size? And he just looked in the box. He's like, oh yeah, here. And he kind of threw it at me. And I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, that's $40. And I joked because I'm like, hey, that's actually more than the ticket to the show was. And he didn't really laugh or anything. He just took my card. And then I was walking away, and he's like, whoa, wait a minute. And he flipped the iPad around. He's like, you forgot something. And I looked, and it said tip. 10%, 20%, 30%. I just hit 10%, and I'm like, whatever, here's $4 for reaching into a box, whatever, I get it. And then I went to the bar and got a drink, and that was another $20. And I thought, man, this feels like I'm going to a movie theater or something, with those kind of prices. But then I kind of had to check myself, and I had to remember that, hey, a few months ago I went to see Taylor Swift, so I have nothing to complain about price-wise at this concert, because that was insane. The whole time I could hear Living Colour rocking out, so I was trying to make it quick, And so I made my way through the doorway into where the stage area was, and I just saw this sea of people. You know, the air changed. It got kind of dense. It was like just full of people and it had that kind of vibe going on. So I had to stand by the door, the entrance area from the lobby to the stage area because there wasn't any room to go. Even the upstairs part where people can sit down, that was packed as well. But it was kind of nice where I was standing because I got kind of a nice breeze coming through. So there was still some circulation going on. I could still see and hear everything just fine. The stage setup at the Skyway is great, at least for the audience. I'm not really sure what it's like to be on the stage, but they have these gigantic towers of speakers, gigantic stage. It feels like an arena, but also a theater at the same time. It's really strange. I think it's because of the wide open general admission area. It just feels like it would if you're on the floor at a stadium. So it's got this really nice open feel to it. And I love the lights because they are LEDs, you know, but they feel like old traditional lights for some reason. They have a warmth to them. It's not over the top, you know, like some venues. It's just like you go home and your eyes are just crazy because all you did was stare at flashing lights the whole time. And so it has more of a natural feel here at this venue. So Living Colour's rocking out. They're playing the song Type. And at the very end of the song, if you listen to the actual recorded version of the song, Corey Glover, the singer, goes into this really fast rap and it sort of fades out. But live, he does it for like 2 straight minutes. It was insane to hear that. And in a world of ampless stages these days, it was great to see a little bit more of an old school look. So Vernon Reid had 2 half stacks behind him. There's a bunch of bass amps as well, which looked really cool. So it really evened out the stage. And then right in the middle, we had Will's yellow drum kit, which is kind of crazy because right now Lars Ulrich is touring with a yellow drum kit as well. So it just seems to be the thing. Although I think Stryper did it first. Corey Glover's voice was really strong. Like I said, he did that rap thing. He just had intense like cardio, great lung capacity for that. But his voice also sounded very strong for a lot of the parts of the songs that he was singing. Vernon Reid was doing his Vernon Reid stuff, you know, just being eclectic and crazy. And most of all, musical. That's the thing. It's like watching some jazz improvisation, but through a metal tone sometimes when you watch him play. Not to sound like a poser, but I was really looking forward to hearing Cult of Personality live. So when that intro came on, I freaked out. I was so excited. The whole audience, you could feel, was buzzing. They kicked into it, and Will's just laying down that groove, just solid. It was such a great feel. When that song was done, I was completely ready for it to be the end of their set. I thought, okay, that's their big hit. That's going to be the end of their set. But all of a sudden, the drummer kicks in to what sounded like Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. And I thought, okay, I don't know if this is one of their songs, but it's a complete ripoff of Zeppelin. And it turns out it was Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. They were doing a cover song. And I thought, okay, that's cool. My Heart tribute band actually plays Rock and Roll for an encore. So it just seems to be a really cool thing to play at the end of the night. And they played it in the right key there in A. But sadly, Corey Glover's voice wasn't quite up there. You know, he was close, but it seemed like he was really struggling through half the song. So he let the audience sing quite a bit, which was cool. I just think they should have maybe tuned it down a whole step and it would have been dead on. It was just like at the end of the night, and he seemed a little bit fatigued at that point. When that song got done, I thought, okay, that was a great ending. Cool, we're good. You know, and all of a sudden, they came back and played another cover song. They played Should I Stay or Should I Go, which is a very interesting choice. I was talking to my friend Grant because we ran into each other there. And the next thing I knew, I saw everyone looking at us. This is weird. I know a lot of people know Grant, but this is crazy. And the spotlights were kind of in front of us, and I thought, what is going on here? This is weird. All of a sudden, I looked over somebody's head, and Corey Glover had run from the stage all the way in front of us, and he was singing the song while standing there. And I could have reached out and touched him, so it was a really cool moment for me, at least. I have to admit, though, it's a little strange to hear a band like Living Colour end their set with 2 cover songs, so that was a little bit strange. And then I heard from somebody that earlier they played Nothing Compares to You, I think in honor of Sinead O'Connor, but it's originally a Prince song. But I thought that would have been really cool to see that, but it's my fault for being late, so I have to blame myself. So when that set got done, everybody started to pile out to go to the bathroom to get drinks and all that stuff. And I just kind of stood there. I took it as a chance to go check out the stage a little bit. And, you know, I was checking out how they were working things. They brought the huge banner down for Living Colour. And then the extreme one went up. And I remember my OCD kicked in a little bit because as it went up, it was crooked. And it stayed that way through the entire show. That might seem like a really stupid, trivial thing, but it's just something I noticed. And then for the rest of the show, I couldn't not notice it. So once again, it's like my OCD sort of got the best of me. That rhymed. I could tell that Extreme was going to come out pretty soon, so I ended up running to try to go to the bathroom, but the line was still really full for the men's side. And I looked, and the women's bathroom was completely empty. And I looked to the guy next to me, and I was like, man, this is the opposite problem that I saw at the Taylor Swift concert. And he kind of looked at me with concern, and he's like, okay, whatever. I know that Nuno's side of the stage is stage left, so if you're standing on the stage, it's the left side. So I ended up going to that side, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to see how close I can get to the front of the stage without getting arrested. You know, if you watch my Ann Wilson video, I had sort of a weird thing with a security guard towards the end of the show. So I thought, you know, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to cause any trouble, but I do want to see how close I can get to Nuno Bettencourt. So I made my way up front, and I got really, really close. But the front of the barrier, there was people locked onto that barrier. They were not letting go for anything. So I got really close. I was right behind the people that were right up in front. So I was happy with that. It was super warm up at front, and for some reason I decided to wear a jacket. I don't know why. It was 80 degrees outside, but I threw on a jacket, so I'm like burning up, and I was just like, oh, let's get going. I can't wait for this to start up. And all of a sudden the lights went down, and I got real excited. I forgot about how uncomfortable I was, and I was just like, Nuno Bettencourt's going to be standing right in front of me. They started off with a song called Rebel, and it sounded great up in front. And then they kicked into Decadence Dance. And it was really interesting because Pat Badger, the bass player, actually sang one of the verses, and he sounded great. I had to do a double take because he did sound a lot like Gary. And as far as the rest of the band goes, you know, it's pretty much what you can imagine. Nuno Bettencourt being awesome, making everything look easy as he plays. You know, he's just walking around like, whatever. And then Gary Sharon, you know, putting on quite the show. My friend said, yeah, it looked like he had like Mick Jagger cardio. And of course, Pat and Kevin really laid down a solid rhythm section. So, you know, they have to play second fiddle to Nuno Bettencourt, but without them, there wouldn't be that foundation that Nuno can shine from. After playing the song called Hip Today, Nuno Bettencourt was kind of joking, and he's like, man, we were here a long time ago, and I just need to ask, how many of you guys were fans back then? And everybody cheered, and then he goes,
bullshit, 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 bullshit. We were playing to an empty club. How the fuck can you all remember that shit?
But I kept thinking, you know what? I was 12 years old. I couldn't go to your show, but you gotta trust me. I was a huge fan since then. Then I had to run to the bathroom again, and this seems to happen all the time. So I'm in the middle of going to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I hear them kick in to Play With Me. And that was, like I said earlier, the first song I really glommed onto as a kid. I loved the guitar solo. So I ran out, kind of zipping as I'm running back, and yes, I did wash my hands. And I got to the front, and I lost my spot. So I took my phone out because I knew I wanted to record the solo, and I didn't really fight my way through because I hate it when people get pushy. So I strategically walked around, and luckily these two people were in front of me trying to get to the front. So I sort of just tailed them like a caboose, and I got pretty close. I'll show you the rest of the set list, and they pretty much covered everything you'd want to hear them play live. And I have to admit, my phone was about to die, so I wasn't able to capture any more footage. Plus, I was being a little bit lame, and I wanted to come back early and finish my Marty Friedman video because I finished filming it earlier, but I wanted to edit it down. And so I ended up leaving a little bit early, which I regret now because I saw on the set list that they ended with Rise, and it would have been really cool to see him do that awesome solo live. But to tell you the truth, I watched so many videos of him playing it live that I think it would have just felt like that, but in person. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like I missed out on a ton, but it still would have been cool to see it. That's the weird thing about YouTube these days. You could watch all these concerts from a lot of different perspectives. So when you're actually there, sometimes you have to remind yourself, oh, I'm actually at the concert. I'm not watching a screen. So it was a little bit nice to leave early because there was no wait to get out. You know, I got right to the parking garage. There were no police chases, so I made it to my car safely. And I got home and I finished my Marty Friedman video. So everything worked out. So I'd have to give Extreme an 8.5. They kicked major ass. They were everything I was hoping they would be live, so that was cool. And Living Color, I'll give a 7.5. They were great. They were groovy. I love them. It's just that ending with two covers was a little bit bizarre, but I mean, at this point, I'm just glad that they're still around and they're still playing. This video is a lot of fun to make. I'm going to have a lot more in the future. I'm going to see Metallica. I'm going to see Megadeth. I'm actually going to see the Eagles and I believe 311. So I'm going to have a lot of reviews for you guys coming up, but thank you for watching this one, and we'll catch you at the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, man. You guys sound like a fucking arena in here. Holy shit. Yeah.